Hi, and welcome to episode 2 of our Fibromyalgia series. In today's series, we are looking at nutrition, which includes food, supplements, and herbs, as all of them add nutritious value to our bodies. But before we start, I'd like to ask you, what do you think of our background? A friend helped me just put together something that is more friendly. I was not doing very well, either with a white wall or with a pink background. I just couldn't get it right. Um, but let me know. Let me know what you think. Tell me yes, no, maybe. Um, I'd love to know. I love it myself. I think it really speaks to part of who we are as an essential herbal product company. Thank you. So without further ado, let's get on with fibromyalgia and nutrition. Once again, just to say that I will be reading or looking down at my notes. It's taken me a while to prepare these notes with a lot of backwards and forth between Lucy and I, a lot of research to just confirm that some of the stuff we're giving to you is factually based. And so I don't want to miss anything out, because then what's the use of that? I'm not giving you the full benefit of all this information that Lucy has gifted us with. So we'll begin with the food. In February 2012, 9 years ago, Lucy was desperate. She had been to doctor after doctor with the pain, with the IBS, with the sleeplessness, looking at all sorts of things. And eventually she just got so exhausted that she decided to consult a holistic consultant. This consultant is also a nutritional therapist, or a clinical nutritionist, I should say, and she specializes in insulin resistance and chronic functional medical illnesses. The first thing Lucy was required to do was an elimination diet. It was a 3-week plan where all grains, especially wheat, sugar, dairy, eggs, and red meat were taken out of her daily diet. Another food that was removed during the elimination diet was acidic vegetables such as leeks and spring onions. After the 3 weeks, one item per week was added back into her daily diet. And the reason for this was to see if her body would react to pain in that particular food, with that particular food. And no food presents itself immediately with pain or with IBS issues or so on. It takes between 3 to 5 days to really get the full impact of the food. And of course, you've got to eat that food more than once during that week to see how it affects you. One particular important no-no was gluten. And this is not to talk about an allergy to gluten only. It's also talking about intolerances to gluten. So depending on how extreme your intolerance is, will depend on if you're able to add any degree of gluten back into your diet. And so this is where the elimination diet becomes so important as well. Lucy promises there are a lot of foods left to eat. Please know that you will not be deprived, but rather you will experience other interesting food choices. More importantly, you will have the choice to experience less pain, and that is more than likely worth it, I'm sure. So this was a good start for Lucy, but 18 months later, the pain was back in force, and she felt that she needed a second opinion. After some research, she found the clinical nutritionist in Cape Town. At this time, it was suggested that Lucy go through some blood tests as well. And these blood tests were to find out where her issues were coming from. So the blood tests brought to light that she was insulin resistant, and she had to cut out all sugar-forming foods as well from her diet until this was addressed. Another important issue that came to light was that her body was lacking B vitamins, especially vitamins B12 and 6. This was vital information because a B12 deficiency can lead to a high level of homocysteine, which can damage blood vessels and lead to blood clots. People with high homocysteine levels tend to have low levels of vitamin B12. We'll get more into the supplements later, but we'll need to just finish dealing with the food part of the nutrition first. The long process and painful process of the food is something that we really do need to focus on. We must remember that Lucy has been through 9 years of trying to find relief from this pain and the associated disorders of fibromyalgia. She was told at this time to go onto a stricter elimination diet. This included all fruits except for berries, all grains except for quinoa, fresh vegetables only, nothing from a tin in case there were preservatives added. Any foods that had been genetically modified and red meat, all dairy. The only beverages she was allowed was water and herbal teas. The only spices allowed were natural powdered herbs and spices. As you can see, much stricter and much more difficult to adhere to. It helped, but it did help eliminate all foods that her body could not tolerate. She had to stay on this diet for 30 days. After this month, she could try adding some other foods back, but again, only one per week. For example, some dairy foods such as mature cheddar cheese and full cream yogurt, things that were good for the tummy on some level. So this was one of them that she started with. And she also had to check these foods to make sure that there were no preservatives added. And a lot of cheeses do have preservatives, so you do have to look for the natural cheeses, not necessarily raw cheese. We're not talking about that. We're talking about the naturally formed cheeses, the naturally made cheeses, not with quick preservatives added to hurry along the process. Lucy says that diet is the most difficult to keep to because she says she must keep mainly to fresh fruit. And last year and this year to date have been the most difficult for her to maintain due to all the circumstances that we have found ourselves in at this time and the difficulty of sourcing fresh, non-GMO organic food. If you are interested in a condensed copy of her food program and her elimination diet that eventually worked for her, we are happy to, if you email us or send us your email address, we're happy to send it to you to your email. And just to let you know that what we will send you is Lucy's version. We don't have the right to give you the nutritionist's version. It's what worked for Lucy. So please just bear that in mind. Then we'll get on to supplements. Now, as mentioned, supplements are an important part of Lucy's healing journey. These have changed as her needs have changed. Our bodies do not stay static. We are organic beings with natural ebbs and flows to our health and well-being. So, this supplement-wise may change from month to month, depending on the needs of her body. The first step along this journey was to go according to what she was deficient in. And this was done mainly through the blood tests. And I say mainly because there are other supplements that do help reduce inflammation that she added to her list as well. Excuse me. We have seen her using her own intuition in this regard as she's walked this journey for a long time. So we've seen her progress and sometimes her struggles with just working with the supplements. The supplements suggested by her nutritionist were the following. Most important, a good digestive enzyme to help process the food correctly. a supplement to help reduce gut inflammation. A specific name was suggested to Lucy, but if you want to use that specific one, please contact us directly and we will give you the name. Or if you are seeing a traditional Chinese herbalist, they should be able to give you a combination of Chinese herbs, which are very helpful in this regard. Thirdly was psyllium husk, or is psyllium husk, to help the digestive tract move and continue moving correctly. Fourth, vitamin B subcomplex, as well as vitamin B by itself. The vitamin B by itself is a little pill that you put under your tongue, and there is you can get a couple at health shops. Magnesium citrate powder. It has to be the magnesium citrate. With that vitamin C carrier, the magnesium works really well, and that helps with pain, cramping, the muscular pain. Vitamin D3, but 5,000 IU, and that was because of her blood tests. So that would go according to your needs. And of course, vitamin D3 does also help with the pain. Then there was zinc to help with her immune system. And she added biocucumin for the inflammation. Biocucumin is just the stronger, more, what do you call it? What's that word? Condensed form, if you like, of the turmeric. It's the curcumin part of the turmeric, and you get it in powdered form in capsules. And just make sure it's a good quality one. You can't get it in tablet form. It's got to be in the capsule form, so you're getting the curcumin. Then let's go on to the herbs. The herbs have been a more recent addition, and these are things that we've helped her with in her nutritional regimen. It's taken us a while to also understand what her needs were, and we've worked quite closely with her in this regard. Things that have helped with inflammation is the devil's claw powder. The nice thing about the devil's claw powder is because it's in powder form, whether she drinks a quarter teaspoon with a bit of water or puts it into a soup or a stew, it's getting directly into her body. And it's going from the mouth through the tract, whereas a capsule goes straight to the tummy and then works from the tummy. So sometimes we need this, the herbs work very well. A lot of the digestive juices in our mouth help absorb what we need from a lot of our herbs. The second herb is astragalus tincture. Astragalus is the immune strengthener, and with fibromyalgia, that becomes extremely important. Then is dandelion leaf tea. This helps to reduce inflammation. Dandelion is amazing. If you have dandelion in your garden, away from any chemicals or pollutants, please use it. If not, get the dry herb from us. You can see over here, there's our box of dandelion tea. Then there's also ginkgo biloba, the tincture. The ginkgo biloba is excellent for helping to improve blood circulation, and this helps to relieve the foggy brain, which very often comes in with the fibromyalgia, is a big problem. And I think it's because of the pain levels that cause the foggy brain, but the ginkgo definitely does make a difference. Then we also gave her milk thistle herb, not the seed, the leaf. And this is just because it's a gentler way of looking after the liver, and it can be taken for a longer time than the seeds, which are more strong and more harsh on the body. Well, harsh, but in a good way. Anyway, I don't want to get ignore that part. Then finally, the valerian, well, don't ignore it. No, sorry. Let me just try and reiterate with the milk thistle. With the leaf, it just means that she can drink it as a tea for a longer time period than than the seeds. The seeds she would have to take for, say, 3 weeks, give her body a break, and then takes again, give her body a break. That's basically what I meant. It's just a gentler form of taking the milk thistle. And then to help with the sleep is the valerian tincture. Lucy herself says that she finds it easy to go to sleep. She's exhausted at the end of the day, so she can fall asleep very easily. Her problem is she wakes up with the pain around 1, 2, 3 in the morning, and then she can't get back to sleep unless she takes heavy-duty pills, and then she says she feels like a zombie in the morning. Zombie in the morning. So valerian tincture is brilliant because it will give you 4 hours good sleep. So for example, if she wakes up at 1 o'clock and she takes 40 drops of valerian, it will help her to sleep through till 5 o'clock, and she just gets a good stretch of sleep. Just an added note to the herbal section, all herbs do not need to be taken constantly. The ones that she has continuously used are the astragalus and the ginkgo biloba. The other herbs depend on whether she's having an outbreak and needs the extra nutritional help. So then, in conclusion, Lucy has made it clear to us that this part of her healing journey has been the hardest to maintain because it can be expensive. There are some definite no-nos that she knows she just cannot go back to. The supplements and herbs can also get overwhelming, and so it is keeping a close eye on what her body needs at any given day that is most important. Lucy is so grateful that you are finding her journey helpful, and she wishes us to pass that on to you. And our prayer, Cris and my prayer, is that those in need are finding this informative and helpful. So with love, until next week, and just a reminder, please press the like button if you liked the video, of course. Subscribe and click on the notification bell. This will just to help get you informed of new videos as they come out, and it will also help get us noticed by other people. Until next time, stay safe and as healthy as possible. Bye.